Good morning and welcome to our last day. Today we're going to be something really cool that I'm really looking forward to doing. Today we're going to be looking at carbonation, and we're going to be looking at two things. One, we're going to be looking at dancing raisins, which is really easy for you to do at home right now, and the other one is Coke and Mentos. The Coke and Mentos you probably need a little help from your parents. And if you don't know what Coke and Mentos is this. And so what's happening here is you take a bottle of Coke, normally 2 liters, and you're taking little Mentos. And when you drop them into the Coke, all the bubbles and carbonation start to form, and all that gas needs to go somewhere. And so it forces all of the pop out of the bottle. You're probably wondering why this happens. This is because if you look really close to the surface of a Mentos, it's not smooth at all. It's actually really bumpy. It's kind of like a golf ball. It has a bunch of little tiny little holes. And what that's doing is it allows for bubbles to form, and allows a lot of bubbles to form, because bubbles are forming on all those tiny little holes. And those bubbles, those are creating a lot of gas and expanding and creating something really cool.
So you're probably wondering how I was able to do the Coke and Mentos. What it is I took these two small, short little plastic tubes and I duct taped together like you see. And on the side, you'll see that I drilled a hole through the tubing. This is so I could put something in to hold the Mentos up. And that way it'd be easy to pull something out and all the Mentos would drop into the bottle really easily. So to hold this tube, all I used was a little bit of duct tape to tape the tube onto the bottle of Coke. And once you're ready, I dropped in all of the Mentos. Sometimes it works better than others. I found that using Diet Coke works the best. And the faster you can get all the Mentos dropped into the pop bottle, the higher the little fountain of pop will go. But for now, we're going to move on to dancing raisins and how you can do that, as that'll be today's easier experiment that you can do right now. So what you'll need is club soda, raisins, and a glass to put that in. And how you do this is really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to take your can of pop, whether it's preferably a clear pop, so you can actually see the raisins, and you're going to open it and you're going to pour it into the glass. Once you've poured it into the glass, that's when you can add some raisins. You can add 1, you can add 3 or 4, but you probably don't want to add too many. This is because there's only so many bubbles that can lift up the raisins. And if you add too many raisins, all those bubbles will be spread out and it won't be enough to lift up the raisins. So what's happening is once you've poured out the drink, bubbles start to form, and that's what gives pop that sort of bubbly feeling. And so those bubbles need somewhere to form. So normally when you pour them into a glass, they all just start forming on the edges of a glass. But once you add something into the pop, it gives more places for the bubbles to form, just like the Mento. But in this situation, it's forming on the raisins. And those raisins are really quite light, and the gas is able to hold it up. And this is why you'll see raisins lift up and dance to the top of the glass, and then they'll sink back down because all those bubbles have popped and aren't lifting up the raisin anymore. For the Bible point today, we're going to be talking about Proverbs 21:5. And this talks about how it's really important to not make decisions really quickly and just to take our time, and how that'll benefit us in the long run. A lot of the raisins are jumping around, moving around really quickly, and some of them are just staying at the bottom. And, it might look bad if you're the raisin staying at the bottom, but it's not. It's okay. Because this verse is reassuring us that it's okay to take your time. It's okay to take your time during hard decisions. And that's really important when we talk about relationships because we need to be patient with them because sometimes they can be really hard and we need to give them fair chances and we need to talk about how you can make the relationship work in the long term. And that takes time and it takes a lot of patience, just the way it takes a lot of patience to be working with each other. It's just like the Coke and Mentos. The Coke and Mentos, once the Mentos go in, it lasts about 2 to 4 seconds. It doesn't last very long. And that can be like a relationship sometimes. They can last a really short period of time, or they can be like the dancing raisins, and they'll keep dancing for a really long time. And whether a relationship lasts a long time or not is based on the decisions we make and how much time and thought and effort we make into those decisions.
So that's all for this week. I hope you've enjoyed going through all these different experiments with me, and I hope you followed along and try them out at home. And I hope that you go and do some of the bigger ones with your parents, because I think that they can be a lot of fun, like the Coke and Mentos. Also, with going back to school, I hope you continue to remember how important it is to work on our relationships with our friends and with God. And I really hope that you take what you've learned this week and you take it with you for the rest of your life and going into school about loving other people and lifting people up and caring for other people. I really hope that you take that to heart and you really make an effort to be encouraging to other people and to be loving everybody that you come across with, even when it's hard. I really do hope that you have a really good return back to school, and I hope that everybody can stay safe.